Welcome to our first fall program for Medea, our first program for Edusist. Just a brief, well, first off, I wanted to thank Innovate Claremont for co-sponsoring. Molly is involved in that organization and they helped sponsor it. And this Claremont Graduate University with Professor Shumke. Yes, for helping getting this organized. And then there's Medea, which I'll explain briefly who Medea is. We're a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization. Our mission is to ensure the technical, scientific, and industrial workforce are connected and have the tools they need to be successful by having programs like this on entrepreneurship, business, finance, and operations, and technology development and commercialization, all in studies that hopefully improve or promote collaboration and networking. So with that, I will introduce our presenter, who is Dr. Damari Williams. He's an educator, entrepreneur, and innovator dedicated to transforming education and community systems. He holds a doctorate of technology, which he just recently got here, a master's in information systems, and a master's in special education with teaching experience spanning elementary, middle, high school, and higher education. As the CEO of Living Through Love and Mars Consulting Agency and co-founder of Edusist, which is the company behind Claire, which he'll be sharing with you. Dr. Williams designs solutions that unite education, technology, and equity. He's a U.S. Army veteran, nonprofit leader, and father of two, and he brings resilience, creativity, and purpose to helping students, communities, and organizations thrive. So please welcome Dr. Williams.
First off, everyone, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for taking out this time here, because you all really didn't have to do it, and I do appreciate it. Bruce, thank you so much as well. Dr. Shopside, thank you. And to my family, thank you for being here as well. All right. Oh, we need to admit someone. Okay. This is what we're all here for. Claire. Claire is not just a solution that focuses solely on students. It also focuses on staff as well. We're thinking about personalization. When we think about personalization, that's the name of the game today. One size does not fit all anymore, just as it does in education. As an educator, a special educator at that, I've seen how one program plan can drastically affect a student's outcomes. And that's what we're here to avoid. On the other side of that, advisors. Advisors are more overwhelmed. Staff are such under high stress workloads because so many students need so many things. So that's what Claire aims to provide, is to make sure that we're integrating directly with those LMS systems and those SIS systems, and to make sure that we can extremely make their workflows smoother, easier process. And we're going to increase career outcomes. Look here. This right here. Now, what do you all see here? I'm sorry, say what? Awful lot of words. Yes. This right here is the huge list of CGU tools. That's in my CGU tools page that every student has access to. Now, in order to check your PeopleSoft, which is where you check your grades, you got to go there. Then, if you want to check your Canvas, which is where your work assignments are, you have to do that there. Click on that one. Well, if you're also a student employee, what about Workday? Then you have to log into Workday. You have all these different tools that we have, but you have to log out of one to go to the next, to get to the next, to get to the next. There is no one place for everything. Well, what about for staff? Same question. How do you work across different departments? How do you, if you're in financial aid, or if you're in academic advising, if you are in mental health, how do we get the students the services they need as a whole team, holistically? Not just one piece here, one piece here, one piece there. This is clear. This is a solution. It's a success platform powered by AI. And it's not just about the outcomes of the overall students. It's not just about the outcomes of academics. It's about career. It's about studying. It's about giving students the tools that they didn't know they needed, the career paths they didn't actually think about. It's about giving them the resources, meeting them where they're at. Staff? Understand? Oh, this is the student portal, excuse me. So you can see here in the student portal.
Alexa,
What's the recommendation?
set a timer for 25 minutes.
You can see here, it's your student portal. Student portal, you can see the dashboard, your AI assistant, your study resources, your level up. That's where you actually get recommendations on what to do next. Certifications, right? If you're thinking about a certain mastery plan, if you want to become an entrepreneur, that's where you would go to see that kind of course. What about courses that you might want to do that pertain to your overall goal academically? Say here in CGU, we're well known for transdisciplinary thinking. So if you are wanting to be a computer scientist, but yet you have a knack for entrepreneurship, well, why wouldn't you take classes at Drucker? Classes that you might not have known that were being offered. That's where you also see that. First place, that's where we see our scholarships. That's where we get the automatic matching according to your background, who you are, where are you from? What are your demographics? What kind of scholarships did you not know you could possibly qualify for? Industry Connect, that's where your job matches. If we're trying to think about what we can actually do, where we currently are, by uploading your resume, uploading your skills, uploading your LinkedIn, you will automatically be matched by jobs. And there's a whole lot of job boards that you can access from there. Career paths. How many of us have always thought about, I don't know if I necessarily want to do this career. Is there somewhere where my skills could be possibly transferred? Are they transferable, me going from this career to this career? Does anything overlap? That's what career paths is for. Career paths is to sit there and then help you understand what skills that you already have that are easily transferable to another career path that you have not previously thought about. And this is for the staff. Staff gets so many requests for help every day. And they cannot possibly get to every student immediately. How do we achieve that? That's what this is for. You have your students, your triage, your knowledge, your forms, your support, your risk, and your analytics. Your students, you can see what students you currently have on your quote unquote caseload, students that you've been working with, students that you're working towards to figure out what's the issue. Triage, that's where you see a list of students' complaints, students who need help, students who need information. They can't find an education committee. They don't know about financial aid. Where do they go to next? Right? They may not be doing well in their classes. Your knowledge is the knowledge base of the different kinds of forms that you can share across the office. We're no longer siloed anymore. We want to know forms that are over here in financial aid that can affect academics. We want to make sure that we have everything across the board. Forms, things that we are automatically giving to students, things that they might need an academic form, dissertation committee form. The support. The support is where you have students who actually are thinking about they need really, really focused help. You need help social emotionally. You need help academically. You need help with financial aid. You need help with just about anything you can make a focus group for. But there's power in that. Because not only can you make a group for a large amount of students, you can make cross-departmental groups for one student. Students from financial aid, from the financial aid department, from the academic department, mental health, anything we can possibly get. We are going to triage that students across multiple departments at one time. We're no longer letting them fall through the cracks. We're meeting them where they at. Our market focus. This is where I've actually had a lot of thought about. And as it currently stands, the best place we can possibly do this is at community colleges. Community colleges have many, many students who come from high school and go right directly into the school system, and they don't know what they want to do. They don't know what's next for them. They're not sure. They're not, where am I? This is what the aims to achieve, to help them achieve what they want to achieve. From there, also, we can sit there and think about on the staff side of that as well. There's so many staff that are impacted at the community college level. For example, I believe Mount SAC has roughly about 25,000 students, which active students, that's kind of a lot to sit there and think about for a community college, right? How do they get the support, right? How do they make sure that these students aren't being left behind? We're going to make sure that we're focusing our data access by SAS, such as PeopleSoft, and our LMS, such as Canvas or Google Classroom. We want to make sure that we are not just doing whatever we possibly can. Like, we're going to do this, we're going to focus on what we already know, which is here at Claremont. Claremont uses PeopleSoft, and Claremont uses Canvas. So that's where we will begin. We will also have a flexible rollout, but there will be a freemium version. And this freemium version will be able to help students kind of figure out what they want to do first. Is to get students on that path where I don't know if I want to go the trade school route. I don't know if I want to go directly to college. Maybe I just want to become an entrepreneur. Well, that's what this aims to help them with as they go from high school to college. And then from here, as you can see, so you can see this, we will actually have access. We will actually have a access pilot too for these schools that are thinking about going with us at first, where we give you a 4-month pilot, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. Okay. So here at CGU, I'm not sure if you all, I know a few of you might know, Molly, you might know, but CGU, we're working directly with them to create our first pilot here and our proof of concept. We already work directly with the Dean of Students. We meet every week, just about, and we are getting data, we're getting things. And in fact, he's not saying much of anything, but that is my partner right there. He's back there. Prajwal, hello, hi, sir. But so we already are in the process of getting things done. We're already trying to figure out how do we insert ourselves into their workflow. What can we find out? What can we, where can we meet you all? As far as our pipeline stages, the main things that we want to focus on is actually getting what was the best way I want to put this? We want to get the course career recommendations fully situated. Now, it already currently works, but the main thing that I really want is I want to tighten it up. We need to make sure that it's fully functional across the board. It gives you a few things here now, and that's because we're using OpenAI. We're using ChatGPTs right now, but we want to build our own LLMs. That's the goal. And you'll see we have multiple different components that actually will help with this. As we continue on building the systems with CGU, our goal is to actually get a letter of intent from them to say, hey, we are going to go ahead and move forward with you all. We are in that process. We have already signed NDAs. We've already signed, we've already gotten data, exchange data, create a beginning of a data warehouse. So we're there at those stages moving on. And I also want to make sure that we're getting things done directly legally. So we have to make sure about getting our IPs, our trademarks, making sure that we're not crossing any lines with that as well. And as I said, our case study CGU. And we're going to move on to sorry. Okay, our integrations. Okay. So as far as our integrations, we like I said, we want to make sure we're doing that PeopleSoft and Canvas first with the roadmap for Banner, and then from Banner, colleague, Workday, and then we want to do SSO via SAML and OIDC. For our compliance, making sure we're appropriate aligned. Like always, that's something that we have to make sure that we're doing in education and IDEA, because we have to make sure we're thinking about those students with disabilities. Encryption in transit is like our main focus because we're using student data. So we have to make sure that we're being extremely careful with this, and making sure that we're using our audit logs and least privilege, because we don't want someone to have access to who doesn't have it, who shouldn't have it. And then SOC 2 type readiness, excuse me. So we have our policies documented, we have our risks and our incident response as well. This is our 12-month milestone and timeline. And so first, December, we want to have access to PeopleSoft from Canvas Live for our read-only. We are going to have our advisor dashboard fully functional by January. Our predictive risk scoring, that's something that I really want to kind of touch on, is because our predictive risk we're in education. And as we know, a lot of education systems are segmented and siloed for a reason. So we want to make sure that we are doing things appropriately with that. Excuse me for saying so much. I do apologize. I'm nervous. It's my first real presentation, so thank you.
You're doing great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Our goal by April 2026 is to have those 2 to 3 community college pilots. And we're not just going to be focused here in California. We want to focus across the United States. It doesn't make sense for us to just stay here in California. Yes, we can have access to these universities, to these junior colleges, but there's so many that are underserved that get overlooked. So we want to be those ones who are actually looking for them amongst the crowds. Our data warehouse using Snowflake, BigQuery, and Redshift. That's where we're really thinking about how much data we're doing that and who owns the data. Because every university or every college is going to be different. And the way that we're thinking about that is segmenting each own warehouse, because what we want the data to come back to the universities, not just saying, hey, we have your data, we're using your data, we're training with your data. No, we want those data, that whoever owns that data, to come back to them so we can continuously refine and get better. And then our initial case study results should be done by June 2026. So, there we go. So the community colleges and universities is the segments, like I said, that we're going to be focused on. But here in California, we are going to be looking at actual universities. If we can see, here CGU, we have begun some talks with UCR Riverside, and it's been slow, but we're making progress because they want to see a little bit more. I actually was just in their incubator. I was in their incubator that they had, and they were very interested in this as well. The modules, the personalized recommendations, the career path, and the PeopleSoft LMS integration. our go-to-market motion is led by me. So I will be out here shaking hands, kissing babies, of course, and meeting with as many people as I possibly can. And of course, through my great advisor back there, some warm welcomes. And so we're going to be looking for a sales director. Need a sales director. That's something that is extremely important right now because I can't do it all. I can't be out there trying to, because I am doing this myself and I am working with Carswell, we're building it, but I do need a sales director. And that's going to be the next thing that we're moving towards. Our premium and our paid pilots are the hooks. We're going to get students. We're going to get students hooked on what we're doing. How many of you all wish you had a tool that could tell you, not just the interest profile, let's say what do you like or what are you possibly good at? What if you had an interest profiler that actually told you, based on this is the school you need to go to. This is the school that can provide you with the classes that you're looking for. This is the trade school who offers in your price range. What if we had that? That's what we're aiming to do. That's what the freemium does. The freemium version gets people directly, gets students engaged to work directly in the ecosystem. Hey, here's a certification for you that you might not have thought about. Here's an AWS certification that you didn't know, you might not have known. You just took a database class. Oh, here's a cloud certification through AWS, right? Those kinds of things. And the paid pilots, of course, for these junior colleges is where we're going to be going. Hey, look, no harm, no foul, 4 months, a little bit, we're okay, we're fine. If you want to go ahead, continue on with us, then we'll go a little bit further before we build out the system. Here's our pricing and our pilot. The base platform is going to be $5 to $7 per student with a minimum of $30,000. I don't want to, I'm not trying to hear the price gouge. I want to make it very affordable for everyone. The add-ons are the risk scoring, and they're $2 for that. And then the internships is $1.50. The scholarships is $1. Right? Data connector, that's $10,000. For the advisor and admin seats, we're going to have 10 included and $1,200 seat a year afterwards. So if you're a small school, you don't have a lot of funding. Let's make sure that we're keeping things kind of straightforward for you. Pilot community colleges, well, that's about 3,000 to 4 months. Within 4 months, 25,000, 100% credit on that conversion if they go along with us. All right, 25,000 goes towards that overall year. University above, that's around 8,000 students, 46 months, 40,000, 100% credit on that conversion. And then we're looking at the annual is about 45K to 60K for the junior colleges, 120 to 180 for a mid-sized university, and a large university, 250 to 350. It's a team, myself, Franz Wall, and our advisor, Dr. Edmar Sharp. The hiring plan with over this next 12 months is we need a 750K safe. Full stack. We need our sales director. We need our contractor. We need our LLM part-time. That's Proswell. Our fractional DevOps, data and UX. Our security compliance, and our SOC 2 type 1 readiness and the proper artifacts with that. And of course, our cloud tools, roughly about $5,000 a month. And the other tools that we're going to have with marketing and things of that nature. And then our plan split is about 60% for people, 9% for about our cybersecurity, another 7% for our cloud tools, and then a buffer as well, about $100,000. And so these are our KPIs and our risks. Based on what we're already seeing, and me speaking to advisors and interviewing them on the multiple things that they are dealing with daily, we can make sure that we can decrease their advisor time, not increase their advisor time. We can decrease it. We can increase student activation. We can make sure that we have at-risk precision, 65 to 75%. Then, of course, the pilot to annual, we want to go from 50 to 60%, making sure that we're getting those success metrics. The risk, as I stated before, is data sharing. That's huge in education. Integration complexity and our model bias and accuracy, because we're using demographics and things of that nature, sometimes things can be biased towards or not biased enough, depending on the outcome. And our security and compliance, to make sure that we mitigate a lot of things, is that we will make sure that we have pre-built things already ready to go. And that's what Edusist is. Edusist is pre-built, ready to go out of the box. Our sandbox, make sure we have those pilots, phase integrations, always making sure that we have humans in the loop. That actually happens to be my dissertation. That's what I'm actually focused in, is making sure that we are always, as we have AI integrated, we are completely working with the entire team at all times. And our SOC 2 plan. The competitors right now are BitFuture, Cello, and Power School. What sets us apart from them is that they only focus on one aspect. And that aspect is we're going to make sure that students get what they want. What classes are they going to go? What career readiness do they have? They don't integrate with the LMS. They don't integrate with the SIS, nor do they have a staff side. They focus just on the students. And that's fine. But how do you keep them from falling between the cracks? All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. If we do have a little bit of time, I was going to show you what the actual solution looks like. If that's okay, that's fine. So here's our questionnaire. Once you start it, you can see, I will add my first name. I already have a few things pre-filled out. United States Information Systems Technology, DTech, part of the professional doctorate. What is my language preference? Would I like to connect with students with backgrounds experience similar to mine? Yes. Are you interested in joining clubs and organizations? CGU Consulting Club and Dr. PH Peer Supporting Group. Tell me about your educational journey, whether you enjoy studying, making video games, robotics, special education, entrepreneurship, design thinking, video game programming are my experiences and my courses, AI for digital transformation, and design for good incubator. What am I passionate about? Creating new applications, teaching, learning about new business technology implementation. Are there any industries or specific careers that you've been curious about? Solutions engineer, ed tech, fintech, professor. And what do you hope to achieve in the next few years? Be a solutions engineer for an ed tech company. And I'm kind of doing this already, starting my long-term aspirations, starting my own ed tech company. I just had to do that. And for choosing a career, what matters most to you? Growth potential. You can see, how do you prefer to learn new things, structured classes, evenings and weekends, what strengths are you proud of, what new skills would you love to learn next, project management, business management, AI implementation, entrepreneurship, or do you have any preferences about where you like to work? Are you moving? Are you open to moving? And then you can upload your resume right here, and then you can also attach your LinkedIn profile. Finally, one more, then finally, what's your budget for financial aid, for financial? Will you be seeking to look for financial aid? Flexible, what's your type of work environment? Flexible and adaptable. How do you manage your stress? And what keeps you motivated in your studies or work? My kids are my motivation. And here you can choose your demographics. And based on that, update your profile. Okay. And let's, okay. Right. Somehow that's not supposed to happen. That's okay. I can show this in a second. But this is the dashboard. This is the actual dashboard that you first click on. And some reason I've got redirected and kind of mixed up here. But I'll go back and fix that shortly. It's supposed to be right here. They did it again. No. Okay. Looks like I'm going to have to log out and log back in. Not without its bugs. My apologies. But until then, what I'll do is I'll show you the admin dashboard. So this is the admin dashboard here. You can see your total students, your active students, your open triage items, and your average resolution time. Or you can look at your overall analytics for the platform itself. So if you're an admin, right, and you're in charge of everything, and you want to know how are we doing, this is it. You can look at your students. Good standing, 3.85 GPA, full-time, credits, financial aid awarded. Good standing, MBA, 3.7, Emily Rodriguez. She has a 4-point education, master's. Academic probation for this particular student. Amanda Thompson, Dean's List, good standing. So you can see your students, and then you can look at your triage. You can look at your different triage. So this particular staff member is an academic support staff member. So Jessica Martinez, high priority academic advising, needs help with dissertation committee formation. Because you are actual academic advising, you can claim this. Michael Chin, medium priority academic advising. And this is where the AI tool comes in really, really helpful because it tells you what's going on. It's an AI summary. And then it allows you, what are your suggestions? Schedule advising appointment, review degree requirements, check course prerequisites. Kind of gives you already what to do as that comes about. You can see Robert Davis, Amanda Thompson, still academic advising, Carlos Rodriguez. Now, remember how I said that this right here, you can see across all departments at one time, what's going on? For this particular student, high priority, financial aid, cannot claim because it is outside of the department. You're not part of that department. You can see what's going on, but you can't claim it. And the reason why we would want that is because we're all team members. We want to make sure that the students, we know what's going on next, what's happening, what's occurring, what's coming down the pipeline. And that's how we make sure that the students are getting the services they need. And your knowledge, this is where you upload your knowledge documents. Forms, your form management library for your financial aid appeal form, transcript request form. And the reason why it's red is because the older the document is, it becomes more red, letting you know that it's out of date. You should update this document. It shouldn't be the same document from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You need to update these documents. Your peer support groups, first generation college students, international student support, graduate student wellness, academic probation support. But as we said, you can create a group here. But furthermore, academic and financial aid supports. You can actually create a case support for this particular student. This student needs help in academics, financial aid, and mental health. emergency grant application. How can we all come together to give them what they need right then and there? And these are your high-risk students that you can see. High risk, medium risk, outstanding balance of $8,000. No platform login in 14 days. Multiple counseling center visits, stress indicators, right? Failing 2 out of 4 courses. This is where we can see those high-risk cases, the ones that we're not thinking about. That just, how do we help them? The students that don't say anything, the students that don't get the help because we don't know about them. And then, furthermore, if you're an admin, you can look at your overall in-depth analytics, right? You can look at the department activity, most accessed resources, the support tickets, resources download, AI chat sessions, and our daily active users. One second, I am going to have to see if I would see if this will let me do. So I can show you the student side of things. I do apologize. I was actually working on an authentication. And the issue is when the AI chatbot, yep, that needs to be removed. So let me just make this really quick because, sorry, remove. Yes. Staff. Actually, I'm using the AI agent from Replit.
Okay.
For the. Okay. So what it would do is you'll being able to see the staff side. You can actually see the different things, the different recommendations, the AI, how it actually helps and really attunes to the students themselves. In the meantime, any questions? Yes.
So in terms of interoperability, are you looking at open source standard protocols like MCP and HCP?
You know, I considered it, and I think that's something that we might go towards that route. But I'm not sure if I want to do. I may take some things open source, but not full.
And my other question is, obviously, if you loop in, say, Google Schools, a lot of this data is very high value or something like that. So how do you plan to hold those companies accountable in not misusing student data? Because it's very detailed student data.
Very detailed student data. I guess the best way I can put it to you is, as someone who worked in K through 12, I've witnessed it, how student data is utilized and who owns what. And generally what happens in those environments is the student data is actually owned by the school itself. They can't take anything from that. That's what my concept is. It's the school owns the data. Yes, you may be able to access some of the data, but you are not the owner. And I want to make sure that I have legal legalities in place to make sure that we're doing things appropriately for myself, for the Edusist, and for the school, and for any companies we actually integrate.
Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Dawson.
Yes, excellent presentation. Thank you, very informative. You talked a little bit about segments and adjacent markets. We're going from going to universities.
Yes.
From junior colleges to universities. Do you think this could be used as a planning tool for employers with their employees as well? And also, could this be reverse engineered for the school to be able to look back at the data that's been put in? That way they know what classes and know what kind of things to offer, because the students are requesting these kind of things. And that's the same thing with employees. They wanna go from one career to another, or go from another. This be maybe a planning tool for managers to help their employees as well.
Absolutely. That was one of my main things about this, was that it wasn't just about, it is educationally organization focused, but if we're thinking about career changes across different, everyone here has had their hand in another career at one point in time. So that's where my thought process was, is that this could be used for an organization that wants to look at doing those kinds of things. As to your second question, yes, there is no bridge. Oftentimes there are no bridges for the universities to get data back, and not just the universities, but there's no bridge between K through 12 and colleges. It's once they are automatically here, 12th grade, you go to college, that's it. There's nothing in between. We aim to be that. We aim to have the data come back as well to those colleges and to those K through 12 school districts. What classes will actually help our students be successful at the next level? What classes are the K through 12 high school students, what are they getting that's helping them here at this level? Or we need to prepare them for that, right? Where are the gaps? That's what we hope to do with this as well.
The competitors that you talk about, they are not doing it?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Thank you.
Yes.
My question is somewhat related. I know a young woman who is enrolled in a junior college, community college, and she wants to be a nurse.
Mhm.
And when she initially went to sign up for the community college, she kind of went under the idea that she had to sign up for a major. But the programs, how do you connect with programs? Like, so now she's looking at, I'm at this community college, but I want to go to maybe Cal State Long Beach, maybe Cal State Fullerton, maybe UCLA. She doesn't know. They all have different prerequisites.
Yes.
None of them actually fill into this major, but she doesn't actually need to do the major, but she didn't know that.
Exactly.
So fortunately, she's had some guidance where she's asking these questions and going to a counselor. But without that,
There is no
we
help.
would have gone to do the major
Yep.
and then found out halfway through
But she didn't.
that she's now gonna take another year or two because she took all these irrelevant classes
Mhm.
for every single prerequisite. So how is it that you would incorporate all these various paths she has open, plus where she is now, and maybe even going to a different community college to get a class?
So the goal is to build that ecosystem out.
Okay.
And we want to make sure that we are able to get a lot of this data actually online. We are, because we can actually look at a lot, we can see all over the web. But that's the issue. Things are so disjointed because you don't know where to look
Right.
and you don't know how to look. That's what we want to do here, is go ahead and get that information from the different universities. You know, we're going to scrape a lot of data, but that's the main focus that we're actually doing, is how do we dispel the mysticism for you, right? And so that's what we plan on doing, is like going on those websites and looking at, even working directly with CGU. Like CGU, we have their entire course catalog. We have access to all their programs.
Yeah, kind of a follow-up to that question. So scraping all those websites, scraping the universities, scraping the schools, do we have standards in place for those kind of, or that kind of information? So are there reporting requirements from a university to say that these are my career paths or my classes that I'm offering that then meet some criteria that might be available according to some standard?
Yeah, so I'm not full admin on that part, But I know Dr. Itamar Shoptime knows more about that. However, what it is that they do have to report what classes go to which program. So you do have to have that course catalog, and it is freely available for the most part to the public. Which programs you can take, which programs are being offered, and which classes you need to take for those programs. And so
Are those reporting standards government derived? Or are they basically held by independent corporations that are just trading that information? So is it an ISO standard, IEC type standard, a ANSI standard, or
that's
is it corporate info?
That's an excellent question. I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up. And I can get back to you for
I'd
that.
be really curious about that. Anyways,
I actually am too. Thank you so much for that. Yes, Bruce.
So are you in operations, or is this, I mean, you had a lot of data, you had a lot of names. You know, really bad students, they had the names, it was obviously your case students. But are you in any kind of operations now, or is it all kind of a dummy test? Sandbox?
That was sandbox dummy test, just to show the proof of concept of what we're doing. Right, is because we can't actually get access to PeopleSoft right now. So we're going through the entire process of being able to get that data and go through that, but it takes time. So we like I said, we just signed the NDA to be able to work with CGU, but still it's a process for us to go
Do
through.
you have a go live, even with a small piece date yet, or? No?
Well, my goal is December, and that's what we were talking about with Dr. Camina Carter. And Dr. Edmore knows she's very, very knowledgeable. She's the Dean of Students. She's the Vice President of Dean of Students. So we work directly hand in hand with her. And we meet every Wednesday. She's the one who's helped us with the beginning of the data warehouse and get us onto what we need. Yes.
Few questions. And this is from my inexperience in this. I in the spring quarter, I taught for the first time at UCLA as a teacher, a guest lecturer, and I was confronted by Canvas and other things. And the last time I had been in school was 1972. So obviously this didn't exist. It was very confronting. What I'm hearing initially is that this is some kind of front end to your career path. And so one question I have is who owns the data? Is it portable to the student doing his entire life, wherever he goes to different schools, and how that works? Also, you talk about it being AI. Is it just an expert system, or is it actually using like a large language model system?
Large language model system.
Okay.
Yes. And I actually have a demo up here that I want to show you. I don't know if I'm going to get to it today. But yes, it's so as far as your first question, the student will be able to track what they've done over because it is an account separate from the rest of the university itself. Yes, it does rely on some of the data from the school as far as like the PeopleSoft where their grades are, right? But the things that they've done, the classes they've taken, that's their data. That goes for them. So if they go to a different university or different junior college, that will follow. And that will help create a more personalized recommendations and things that they should do next. Yes, I'm gonna get to you too. I'm sorry, see you. I'm sorry.
Presentation, and my question is about the ethical issues and considerations.
Yeah.
So how will you address the ethical issues and considerations like privacy, informed consent, data ownership, and of course, you know, if data is in many hands, it can easily be misused. So how are you going to handle this?
First and foremost, I would like to have a data expert and a good legal team behind it. But furthermore, for these particular things, I want to, as far as data ownership, it's always about, again, each university having their own quote unquote data warehouse, right? That's the first thing I want to make sure that we have is we're not sharing data from CGU with Mount San Antonio College. It doesn't happen. So it's that straight one-on-one, and they are the data owners. We're not the data owners. No. Ethically, if there is like a certain breach or something like that, have a risk team to make sure we're already good to go, because that's like my main thing. As my cybersecurity, who was on my dissertation committee, she's taught me very well. But yes,
I had a question, does this integrate with Canvas?
yes.
And then, how will the teachers log the grades for, and would it be for every student that signs up, how will they log the grades? And how many admin users would it take to stay on top of those students that have signed up?
So this is only one way. This only pulls data from Canvas and pulls data from PeopleSoft. So the teachers are already logging grades and what they're doing in Canvas. So this just pulls that from there.
Okay,
Yeah. As far as the admins, I think that just depends on the school itself. That's their configuration. How many people they need in order to make sure that they're doing what they need to do. Who gets access, what's the configuration for that? It's gonna be up to them.
What would you recommend, like, if you had to tell the school, you probably need about X amount to start to monitor these students to make sure they're getting proper care, taken care of?
If we're looking at, I think it depends on the amount of students and each program they have. But for CGU, I think there's roughly about 2,500, 3,000 students thereabout. We have, we have the entire Dean of Students office. So I want to say there's probably roughly about 30 to 40 advisors just in that one area. But then we also are thinking about financial aid. And we're also thinking about each school has its own advisors, like the professors, who sometimes advise as well on things they need to do. So it kind of just depends on what they were actually looking for.
So,
Sorry.
So, yeah, I'm just, thinking about, you say, this is AI related, so data quality is really important, right?
Yes.
So if you're coming from PeopleSoft, then a lot of them, they are like operational data, the transaction during the day. So it could be a lot of, like wrong data or, like.
Yes.
Fix them later. And then so if the AI driven, you pretty much need to measure, the data management part, but then that's also done by, I would say, either each department or each
Yes.
systems.
Yes.
And then also you mentioned about like data warehousing. This, I think that a lot of big schools they put the clean data in data warehousing to helping with this data AI. But I don't know what kind of permission your company will get through data warehouse, just because a lot of schools they got it.
It's a lot, yeah. I think that's what we're kind of parsing out right now, trying to figure out what that actually looks like with CGU. Because we're still in the first throes of it and trying to figure out how we're gonna operate directly with them in the usage of their data. So we're still at the very early stages of that, but as we hammer things out, I can definitely say we're gonna have a much more concrete plan of how we're gonna approach that.
Okay, I think it's amazing. I just have one question about the conversation.
Yes.
About the cost. How you like accounting the cost? What the cost? Which part will like you accounting to the cost, and how you define the price? I see you have the really exactly like the price for students for the school.
Yes.
So how you define the price?
The way that I went about defining the price itself is I actually looked at what other offerings are doing right now. So there's, like in the K through 12 environment, there's Aries. And here, there's Q in Pomona Unified School District. Here I can't think of the one that they use on the back end for the admins. I can't think of it right now. It escapes me. But roughly they're roughly charging about $50,000 to $75,000 a year. If you're a larger district, they're charging more, $150,000 to $200,000. So my thing is, if I'm giving you two solutions instead of just one, I'd rather much more bring you in, reel you in with that early adoption, because we're already thinking about reducing the price for you. So that's how I started thinking about the students, how many students are actually gonna be there. That $5 to $7, depending on where each college or university is. And then, of course, like I said, $30,000 minimum is annually, what we can do, that's the cheapest we can do.
I know, because if you use the API, like you generated the contents,
Mhm.
more people in the same time they use it, and the cost is going like
Kind of
up,
crazy.
like crazy.
Yeah.
So actually, this part I'm a little bit concerned how to control that, right? And then you already have this cost. I mean, you have the price there. So if it goes high,
Right.
right?
That's kind of where I think that's an extra conversation that I really need to think a little bit further about. I didn't think about, but that's actually a good point. Thank you very much. Yes.
Since we have a fair number of students here, how did CGU, or how does somebody get to the point that they can build a company like this? What does CGU academically provide for you? And if someone wants to work for your company in 5 years, 10 years, what do they need to do to learn AI? Where does one become a sufficiently expert in this so what did you get out of CGU, and what is needed? What's your toolkit that allows you to do this?
I think first and foremost, the thing you have to really understand is you're always going to be one. I think that's what CGU really instilled upon in us, is that no matter what you do, no matter where you go, no matter what happens to you, you're always continuously learning. You're a lifelong learner. That's the first tool you have to have, is that you cannot be cut off. Two, the way that CGU was able to give classes about information systems, designed for design thinking. I'm sorry?
DSR.
Yes, which is my dissertation. Design thinking and business, entrepreneurship. As you know, Drucker, we're here in Drucker. And this is one of the greatest business schools there is in the United States. That kind of thought process of being transdisciplinary, the toolkit that they allowed you to learn, understanding the nuance of how do we look at digital transformation itself, right? That's a course. How do we look at ERP systems, which is what this is clearly based on as a CRM ERP system. How do we design not for us, but how do we design a product for the user of our clients, right? And that's kind of what this is really about. CGU gave so many classes, so many different abilities to even utilize AI in what you're doing every day. It wasn't just about, hey, you can't use AI. It was, no, this is a new technology that is on the bridge of being some of the greatest changes coming. Why not use it? So understand, students, if you want to come here, that it's really about letting yourself learn and be taught, and understanding that you're going to have a lot of fun and you're going to have a lot of different things to learn and use.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I just want to briefly build on the question Bruce asked.
Yes.
I was interested a little more about your human experience. I'm sure many of us would hope to follow in this sort of footsteps of you had some ideas, and at some point you had to decide, what's academic, what's a business idea, what's patentable, what's open source, and pulling all that apart. I'm really trying to understand at what point you became secure in these ideas and comfortable enough to share with others and find allies that you can work with and who see your vision and support you.
I would probably say that was year 2 for me in this program. I've always been someone who thinks outside the box. But as I was brought into this actual project, it wasn't originally this. We were brought in to tackle the low retention rate and the falling enrollment rate and universities. But this is what came out, and she was on my team, and Karen, who's here online, she was on my team, and a few others, Irma and Faisal. It really, really, as we went through that process and learned about entrepreneurship, design for good incubator, AI for digital transformation. As we learned and went through and started thinking about how do we talk to our stakeholders? How do we sit down and brainstorm with them? How do we get them involved in the process, which is what my dissertation is actually on. It allowed me to create a framework. So as I went through this process of entrepreneurship and working with my teammates, it probably was, like I said, around year 2 that I said, you know what, this is doable. I can make this. And I need a good team around me to make it happen. So it's when you feel confident that you know you found something that nobody else can see. That's when you like, I see this. No one's caught onto this. And I see the need for it. And even if they don't see a need for it, even if you don't get it funded, who cares? Because you saw it first. And that's what it's about, is getting yourself out there and doing it anyway.
No, it's about 8:00. One more question.
Maybe just an observation. So I am not in, education field. So a lot of this was like way over my head. But when I started thinking about so it's hard to try to track, like for me to envision trying to track all this stuff that happens on a person's trajectory
Right.
towards what is it? Is it graduation or is it future employment, a career?
Right.
But when I think about the average K through 12 student, I think about like standardized test scores.
Yes.
And I think about, I'm going to call like reading comprehension, basic writing comprehension, the essentials that and it becomes easier to grasp. Like we're not trying to create a path towards a career, which can sometimes be, you just luckily fell into the career because you knew a guy,
right,
got you a job,
who you know,
really
yes.
But like how this could be used to try to take a child who fails his reading test at age 6 or at age 9, and then helps them get to proficiency level by grade 12 and college prep ready. So I could see how it could be, and again, and trying to get my own brain, I could see how the utility of pulling data together and following a student along an individualized path would be really, really interesting and involving.
It's really awesome that you say that, because literally that's what my first master was in, special education. That's what we do. We actually pull a lot of data, we observe, we look at what the student needs. We have multiple team members from different backgrounds, occupational therapy, psychologists, speech and language. A student who does not have strong skills, how do we make sure that they don't fall between the cracks? How do we get them the services they need? And that's where this foundation comes from. That's where this thought process comes from. I'm glad you were to pick up on that.
Thank you very much. And
yes,
I just want to say a few things. One, that in order to run a good school, you need excellent students, and Marie is an outstanding student. He took few classes with me, and during the classes, while as a student, he started to tutor, guide, and mentor other students who struggle during the process. So that's the result. Thank you so much. I want to thank Bruce and Madhya for organizing this event. Madhya, I think you should add C, Madhya C, because now it's also Claremont.
you guys are building your own, and we're just going to be a good networking. We'll stay in touch. So
Actually, we were looking at this in this little where's Maddie and map, and it has, Claremont isn't on there. But it does have the, what do you call it, the goal line.
Right.
I don't know, I can't tell.
It's been long.
But, you know, it's gonna.
Yeah, I was hoping to take it tonight, but it's not done until next
I
week.
think 2 more weeks.
But yeah, this whole region is gonna be connected by light rail.
But you mentioned the Claremont College isn't there.
What's that?
The first resource is the Claremont College for talent, so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's actually the concept from way back in 2001, I went to some presentation and they talked about the technology capital of the world or something. And, you know, a train running along from, you know, from Claremont to Caltech. So it's a great region and, yeah, so I think it's hard to drive with more than 5 miles in this region. So the tech ecosystem can't effectively work when it's too big, but you can have pockets. And so that's what this is about, is create a pocket here, create a pocket where we're at, and make sure the pockets talk to each other. So.
Yeah, and finally, thank you, Molly. Molly, she is the leader of Innovate Claremont. The group of local innovators from the colleges and from local businesses, and she connected us with Nadia. So thank you very much, Molly.
And for those who want to go, can go, it's Claremont Craft Ales.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, we're on the little tricky, where are you? Finding Claremont Craft Ales is not straightforward.
Okay, well, we made it here, this was the best. First step.
General area.
Yeah, I think it's like a.
You think you're going into an industrial park,
You are
with like, you are. But trust us, there is a
Yeah.
brewery to the right, you just keep going.
Very good one.
Science.
I think I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to cut all that out.